8 years old, I watched myself, watch myself, stare at myself into the mirror, an ever-changing perception, an idea staring back at you. I tried to interrogate the reflection in my eyes, in my pupils. A question captured my soul there and then, and never let me go. It took my childhood with it. Who is watching me? Watch me. And who would be watching that being? Watching me? Watching him? I decided then, knowingly or not, that life isn't real. Hardly a dream. Just a film. But who chose to watch? All of a sudden, my body didn't feel my own. I didn't have choice or possession over it. All my life it seemed. But to what extent? If my body didn't feel my own, someone inside or outside, behind my pupils, a black hole, watching. Nothing I did felt my own. How could I feel like this life was my own? I became a refuge to my body. No choice but to face reality, to flee, to replicate living. But the more I age, the more I grow, the more I realize it's survival. I took perhaps a passive decision. I would watch with him. It didn't feel like a her. I felt like I didn't speak again. Virgin pages become poisoned by my words. I felt no one else would hear, let alone listen. A truth people would first fear, then call their own with their whispering judgments. I don't know if I have more. Obviously those thoughts. Well, first of all, I have to acknowledge this is difficult to film, considering I'm in front of two things that are looking back at me. I'm trying to face away from them, but they're just by my side. The mirror and the camera, both watches. But I'm filming this to say, to express more so the feeling of being disconnected from my life and from, well, firstly from my body and then from my life, which started when I was 8 years old. Yeah, this happened when I was like looking at myself in the mirror, as I explained, and I was looking into my eyes, and all of a sudden I felt watched, like from a 3D or like third person perspective. I felt that I felt occupying. I felt like I was just occupying a vessel, like a body, you know, and that somebody in some sort of other realm or world. I know this all sounds like crazy, but like or like woo-woo or whatnot, I don't know, but this was my experience, and also when I was 8 years old I was still heavily connected to my imagination, which is not so much the case now, and that's how I felt back then. And yeah, I kind of imagined in that moment somebody watching my life, or like this life from my perspective on a TV, but in some other galaxy or some other universe. And then I imagined like thousands and millions of other TVs where yeah, over time I don't think I've realised how more and more distant I became and felt from my body and my experience of life in general. I don't know what an impact it has had on my life, but I guess in difficult times it's easier to say this is not real. In traumatic times, the same. I thankfully have not had many traumatic memories or moments, but I've had like a few difficult ones where definitely thinking to myself, this isn't real, has not only helped but has been the only thing that makes sense in that moment for something so cruel or so absurd to happen, and for not just me living such difficult times but so many other people around the world living all sorts of different types of suffering. I find it literally unfathomable. Like, I don't understand how such cruelty can exist with amongst such beauty and such peace at the same time. And of course we can choose peace in those traumatic moments, but what does that change in the fact that at the core what we're experiencing is insanity? And yeah, of course in those moments the idea of death seems like a very enticing solution to escape and run away from your problems. So yeah, I don't know, like, I don't really know where I'm going with this, as per usual. But yeah, in moments where I've actually wanted life to be real, say if like my dream came true and I was standing right before it and I had the life that I'd always dreamt of, I would be trying to do everything, or like anything in me internally, to tell myself, this is real. Like, fucking hell, like, look at it, it's real. It's real, it's real, it's real. And like trying to convince myself it's real, but never truly feeling that at the core, simply because I've either got used to seeing life the way that I have, that it's not real, but also because, yeah, this dream, this good part of my life, it's gonna end at some point. Um, so that's not real either. So like, what is? And it goes into the whole idea of truth and what is truth, what is absolute truth, which I would say is something that we don't need to prove. Like, proving something is not even a question, like it's not even a thing to consider when something is absolute truth. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck. Anyways, I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I guess I don't have much to say on this topic since it's just the way I live, the way I either program myself, or the way I just simply cannot outrun this way of living, or this way of existing. It makes me feel like I exist rather than I live. I don't feel like I'm living. I don't feel like this is real. I feel like it's just an experience of life, not the experience of life. It's a life rather than the life or whatnot. And yeah, and similar to this experience, or like part happens when I'm dancing. Um, I become pure movement, and it doesn't matter if somebody's watching me or not, because I am like completely invisible. I'm just an expression in just moving matter, and yeah, a pure expression, and it is the most liberating and beautiful experience I've ever had. And that's a different type of dissociation, or a different type of, in those moments I feel like I'm living, but that's because there are no thoughts and no questioning of what's happening. That feels like pure truth. I guess perhaps in those moments, in those activities like writing, dancing, perhaps somewhere in there lies my higher purpose for why I'm here and what I'm here to do. But I'm so scared to make money from that, or like to try and pursue a career in that and have money and value attached to what I'm doing, which is just pure expression. Like at some point it will hinder its truest form, its truest expression, because the idea of value is integrated into its expression, you know? So I don't even want to risk trying to pursue that path of making that a professional thing, because I don't want to ruin a one true love right there, you know? But yeah, one time when I was doing that writing and I was completely invisible, after I finished writing that message, I stood up and there was a mirror right beside me, and I looked at the mirror, but I was in such a trance, almost a trance state, that when I had looked at the mirror and I looked at the mirror and then I like just turned away, like really like kind of slowly, and then I kind of shook my head and I was like, it's as if I woke up and I was like, what the fuck did I just see? Because it was like the mirror was part of the landscape. It was no longer this thing of value that was looking back at me. And I realised it didn't matter who looked back at me. I could have been anyone, and I would have taken that as me. to be very what's the word? Like feel pity or for objects, but sometimes I do because, you know, in moments of boredom and where my thoughts can no longer race or force me to do anything, and I just accept pure boredom and I sit in it and I welcome it, I start to see everything as just so worthy of existing. And who are we to decide what is worth and what is existence, you know, and I'll speak about the whole feeling bad about objects and stuff, maybe in a different time, because I can't quite find the words to express it right now, but I don't really know what my dissociated experience with my body has exactly taught me. I don't know how much I have to say on it, because it's just this is the way that I am, and I can't help it. Sometimes I wish that I didn't have this, but other times I realise it's such a force and a power to be awakened like that, and to realise that you don't exist, you just don't, there's nobody more important than anybody in this life. We're all on the same playing field, and we're all going through the same insecurities and the same joys, the same moments of relief and celebration and grief, even if not in quite the same way. Having sympathy for the body makes me sympathise a little more with other people, because we all come from the same place and we all experience roughly the same things deep down. Not in an externally we all live different things, but internally we're all from the same place, innit? I don't think I have anything else to say on this. Maybe I will another day, or maybe I'll add some text somewhere here, because right now, I mean, I guess the only thing is, I'm lucky, I'm happy, and I'm lucky that I have this experience of life, as disconnected as it is, because I can still choose to enjoy it. I choose everything now. I choose my happiness, I choose my joy, I choose my reactions and everything, because I realise it's not integrated into my body or into my being. It's everything is what I choose it to be. And in the end, it makes things easier to detach from, both in this life and of this life. When it comes to the end of this journey of living, I'm just as welcoming to life as I am to death. I'm just as welcoming to joy and to grief, because it's all necessary and needed. And that detachment helps me realise that I'm capable of navigating